All right, we've got our smoothie this time. Also, water. Hydration is key. We've got some fun friends in the background for those of you who are watching. I think we're ready to do this.
Hi, everyone. You're tuning in to the Perfectly Powerful You podcast, a space of epic positivity, radical self expression, and transformational growth. Join me in celebrating this beautiful thing we call life with even greater ease, flow, and authenticity.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Perfectly Powerful You podcast. I'm your host, Nikita, and I trust, hope, and expect that you all are having a delightfully wonderful day. The topic of this podcast, Planning for Miracles, has been brought to you by the sauna. Thank you, sauna, for being such a great place for not only relaxation and fantastic conversation, but also moments of inspiration. And thus, this podcast was born. I've been thinking a lot about how we can use our thinking and our mental faculty of imagination for or against us. And lately, when I've been tuning into my body and when I've been paying attention to the conversations around me, it's been very, very interesting to see what has been coming up. Because I've been in this work for a number of years now, and may there be many, many more to go, I am very aware of a lot of my thoughts and how it translates into how my body feels and the energy I radiate, and also the actions I take or choose to not take. And also when I'm paying attention to other people around me, my clients as well. And so, as I was in the sauna, I had such a beautiful, beautiful interaction with these two gentlemen who were just minding their own business and had no idea that they were going to be the inspiration for this podcast. And so, if you would love to hear more about imagination, how we can use it to plan for miracles and actually allow them to come even easier into our life, while also being able to tune into whether or not you are using your imagination for or against your highest growth, then please stick around and enjoy the rest of this podcast. So, our mental faculty of imagination is one of the most important and most fun aspects that we have been gifted as human beings, or rather, spiritual beings, having a human experience. It couples with the law of thinking, where everything is created twice, first in thought, then in form. And so when we understand this very fundamental concept that everything is created twice, then we want to pay very special attention to what it is we are thinking. And using our imagination is one of the most fun ways of being able to create. Not what has already been created, although you can absolutely do that and make it even better than what it already was, but to create things that haven't even been born of. If we know that we are, again, spiritual beings, have radiant, fantastic, amazing human experience, then we know that we are connected to this oneness, this infinite possibility, where if we think it's already done, then so it is. But also knowing that our imagination was something that we were taught to explore and express and utilize as little bebés and children. And for many of us creatives, which I would like to dub is absolutely everybody on this planet, in whatever way you would like to think you are creative, then so are you. But imagination is something that as children we were able to cultivate and utilize. And we pretended that we were firemen and we dressed up and we pretended and we became that for ballerinas, for astronauts, and I can only say this personally, when I pretended that I was a dog and I'd make my bed up with my sister into into one of those round beds that often dogs will sit on, and I pretended I curled up to be a dog, and therefore I became a dog. But it's fun to play and it's fun to use our imagination. But it can also be a huge torture to use our imagination. And more specifically, we can utilize horror movies where people, and I can point to myself for this one, I can't watch horror movies right before bed. It is just not a good idea. I know I would tell myself even before I had more of an inclination and more of an understanding of the imagination and the beautiful mental faculty and powerful, powerful mental faculty that is our imagination. But I would tell myself, oh no, I can't watch horror movies before bed. I have too much of a wild imagination because I would ruminate over it. I would get into the horror movie and I would spook myself. And for those of you who relate, either raise your hand right now, I'll see you, or comment down below and say, yes, I agree with you, Nikki. Horror movies before bed is a no-go because we have a wild imagination. But isn't that funny that our imagination is something that is so powerful? We immerse ourselves into something that is for our highest good or something that isn't for our highest good, i.e., maybe horror movies, because they're spooky. For those of you who love horror movies, by the way, I'm so happy for you. You can have my share of the horror movies and my seat at the ticket booth. But when we are in our mind and we utilize this law of thinking, where again, everything is created twice, first in thought, then in form. When we immerse ourselves in our imagination, our mind is so objective, and you've probably heard of me say this before, but our mind is so objective, it has no idea whether or not what you're thinking about and utilizing your imagination with is actually happening or not. It's a matter of perspective and how we're able to tune into our thoughts and control what it is we are letting permeate and penetrate our mind space. And so, how do we plan for miracles? How do we allow them into our life? How can we even more readily receive and utilize our imagination in order to cultivate a mind garden, a flourishing mind garden full of miracles that not only are possible, but become our reality? I'm going to share with you the story about the two gentlemen that I met in the sauna before I get into these tips and tricks that help you in your everyday life. And I want you to really pay attention to the level of precision that these men used in the way that they were thinking about their life, their circumstances, but also their future memory. And also pay attention to the energy surrounding the story because these men have no idea that they are powerful creators. And so as I am going through the story, I want you to pay attention to your own life. What stories are you telling yourself about yourself? What stories are you continuing to repeat? And what future circumstances are you preparing for? Are you utilizing your imagination in a way that cultivates and makes space for miracles? Or are you cultivating a space for lack? Are you cultivating a space and mind garden for future things that aren't going to go your way? Because remember, everything is created twice, and it first starts with your thinking. So, these two gentlemen, son and father, but they were sitting in the sauna right beside me, and I could feel such powerful, relaxing, peaceful, vibrant, radiant energy just coming from them. as soon as I walked in the sauna, they just greeted me with such big smiles and they were like, "Hey, come on in, come sit down. The sauna is great." And I said, "I would love to." They're like, "Let us make space for you. There's plenty of room." And I said, "Thank you so much." So not only was there this distinct aliveness and radiance coming off of them, even before I had a chance to listen to some of their conversations, but as I was paying attention to some of the wording, I just noticed that there was something more about these two gentlemen. Now, they started to talk about just amongst themselves how beautiful their day had been, that they got to spend so much fun time wandering around the streets of Ucluelet, which is where I currently reside, being on the West Coast, how amazing the weather is, even though it's been really, really rainy and kind of stormy. But they were just having such a good time, like they couldn't stop saying how great life is. They were talking about the food that they got to enjoy and how great it was to spend time with friends. And they were talking about, oh, well, we would love to go to this new place. We were talking to these people and we heard about Roar and how they have like amazing place to dine in and great food. And we'd love to take our friend there because she wants some fresh seafood to be like while she's by the ocean. And all the while, the conversation just felt uplifting. And I said, wow, like life looks great on you guys. It sounds like you are enjoying the heck out of your adventure here. And the older gentleman, the older of the two, the father, he started saying, you know what? Like, I've been feeling great these days because it sounded like maybe he had some surgery or maybe some health issues in the past, but all he could talk about was how great he's feeling. And so almost immediately after, his son chimed in and said, "Imagine how you're going to feel in a month." And they started rambling on about all the things that they wanted to do, how they wanted to fix up the car so they could go on a road trip, and how they were going to plan for some holiday get-togethers. And they started saying, okay, well, if we're going to be doing all this, then we need to, get the car fixed up, and I'm going to come over, and we're going to invite our friends, and we're going to send out maybe cards or whatever it is that they wanted to do. But on and on and on and on and on they went about not only how great their life is, how great their life is going to be, but all the ways in which they are planning for the great things that they continue to want to have in their life. And it struck me so profoundly how beautifully they're utilizing these laws and how we all utilize these laws in one way or another. It's just a matter of the ways in which we're using them. And are we actually using them in a way that's cultivating a space for even greater things to be present in our lives? So, we'd love to highlight a few key aspects of this conversation that I think are going to be so important for you guys in not only highlighting what you guys are already probably doing in your life, but make it even more of a conscious decision to be these people and to use these tools and to activate this law in a way that serves you so much more beautifully that maybe you've been utilizing up until now. So, for starters, they were talking about how good life is. They were grateful, and that's key number one, gratitude. They were grateful for the things they already had in their life. And that is why I felt such powerful, radiant, beautiful, joyful vitality just being exuded from them from the moment I first walked into that sauna. Secondly, they were planning for a beautiful future. The father said, man, I'm feeling great already. Like, I'm feeling so good these days. And the son said, imagine how you're going to feel in a month. And then they described what they wanted to see in a month. That's key number two, vision. What are you planning for a month from now? A year from now, 3 years from now. Remember that everything is created twice. First in thought, then in form. They created a vision for what it is they wanted to see that they thought would be even greater than what they have already been experiencing. So, number one, gratitude. What is it that's already awesome sauce in your life? Number two, vision. What kind of miracles are you planning for? What kind of greatness are you holding in your mind space that you want to create? Number three, they dumbed it down for themselves in a manner of speaking, but they made actionable steps. Number three, they mastermind together. They created and held space for each other and they said, what would be awesome? They created a vision and they say, well, what sounds like some things that we want to do in order to create this? And they just started spitballing with each other and they said, yes, we'd love this. And they're like, no, maybe not this. But they're like, yes to this, yes to the car, yes to the people. They're like, what about cards? What about emails? And just they kept going back and forth between each other. And all the while there was this just elevated energy of like, what about this? What about this? What about this? They created a group between each other in order to vision out, plan out ideas that felt like it sparked interest in their life to help cultivate the vision they already created. And number four, they created actionable steps. How are we going to allow this to come into being? What steps are we going to take to create the fun, to live into this, to not only hold the space for these beautiful visions that they are cultivating, but what is it that we actually want to do to help bring it into reality? Knowing that we are the people, the universe can only do for us what it does through us that are going to help co-create the life that we see in our minds. So to recap, for those of you who would love to continue to utilize this beautiful mental faculty of imagination coupled with the law of thinking, number one, gratitude. What is it that is already awesome and wonderful in your life? Where can you start to radiate and cultivate this energy in your body outwards that allows you to attract more of what it is that you want in life? Number two, vision. What do you want more of? That's the fun in life. Use your imagination, not to torture yourself and say, oh man, things suck and things are only going to get worse from here, and this is why. No, use your imagination. Well, you can do that if you want, but here on the Perfectly Powerful You podcast, we are here to cultivate positivity and radical self-expression and the ways in which we can live an even more awesome life, to go forwards with our dreams with even more confidence. Your imagination is going to be your key. So vision it up. What would you love? And if you don't know what you would love, maybe start with, well, I don't want this. Go from there. I don't want this, so what would be the complete opposite? And then do that, vision it up and say, well, I don't want debt, so what do I want? Even more money. Cool, let's do it. Let's vision it up. I don't want to be sick. Okay, what does it look like to live into radiant health? Well, I don't want to be alone. Okay, well, what would it look like to have friends and family by your side? Your imagination is going to be whatever you make it. So make it good. Number three, masterminding. Find some people who you think would be awesome to co-create this life with and just start spitballing with each other. Create a little mind web or mind map if you want and really make it visual for yourself. Write it down in bullet point form. You can do a little bubble map, if you will, or whatever it is that makes sense for you. But cultivate some ideas. Hold the vision in mind and then say, well, how can I start to plan this out? What feels like it's calling to me? And circle the ones that feel like they have some spark. That's going to be a great way of just starting to take some, number four, actionable steps. This means that, yes, we can hold gratitude because life is awesome, and we can create a vision for what it is we want to see. And we can also write down all the ideas. that feel like they will help cultivate miracles in our life. But if we're not taking the action steps, then nothing can get done and nothing will come into our life because there's no connection of this loop. It's kind of like a person who's at the bottom of Mount Everest and he's praying to God and he's like, please get me up the mountain. It'd be so awesome. Like I see myself, I'm envisioning myself at the top of the mountain and it's so awesome. I did it. I climbed Mount Everest and God is going to take me all the way up there. It doesn't work like that. What it does work like is you're at the bottom of the mountain and you see yourself at the top of this mountain and you are so proud of yourself. You are grateful for the experience, but it's going to take every step of your steps, of the power breathing you that is going to help create you being at the top of the mountain. And so the fun is being able to climb the mountain. And so the fun is holding the vision for what it is you want and actually taking the steps to create it. And so in your life, your vision might be to start a new business or to enhance the business you're already in. It might be to get in better shape or to find a beautiful companion, the love of your life, or to book a trip and see yourself on holiday. Whatever it is, you first must vision it, create ideas of how it's going to come into mind, and then actually take the steps. You guys are doing such a wonderful job. I just want to interject here and let you know that for wherever you are in life, for whatever it is you are doing, for all the trials, tribulations, and triumphs that you guys are experiencing, just know that you are doing awesome. Give yourself a pat on the back, some snake hands, some fireworks, some pats on the head because you guys are awesome. And life looks so good on you. I thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you had fun with the story, and thank you to the gentlemen from all of us in the sauna for being exactly who they are and planning for an awesome month ahead. For those of you who are listening this in the month of November, 2024, that is, I am hosting and I have created a dream building beta team, part 2. For those of you who would love to continue to hold space for your visions and your dreams and to actually transform them right here, right now, in real time, with a coach by your side for a steal of a deal, which is 50% off the regular coaching price that I offer because it is a beta team, then I encourage you to email me at perfectlypowerfullyu@gmail.com in order to get on the wait list. The Dream Building Beta team will start up in December. And so for those of you who would love to actually begin planning for an awesome 2025, we're going to be well ahead of this. This Dream Building Beta team is meant to not only harness your vision, give you the tools to actually know what it is that you want in life, but to help you get those results. More money, the love of your life, more time freedom. These tools are yours for the next 3 months, and they're going to be with you for the next 3 billion years. It's for your entire life. So if you would love to cultivate more miracles, if you would love someone to help you along the way and also be in a team of like-minded people by your side who can help you mastermind and create even more energy around your dreams, then go ahead and email me so that we can set up a strategy session together and get you started. Until then, I trust, hope, and expect that you all have yourselves a super duper tremendous rest of your day and week, and I will look forward to talking with you all real soon. Thank you all for joining me today because it has been my absolute pleasure to be here with you. Make sure to give this podcast a 5-star review and share it with all your loved ones because it helps in creating even more awesome content. If you're interested in learning how to effortlessly create even more health, vitality, and time and money freedom, sign up for my free monthly vision workshop live over Zoom. Until then, I hope you all have a powerful day, and I look forward to chatting with you all real soon.